this conversation is all about the relationship between an entrepreneur, visionary, and an integrator. Sales Ascenders, it's Wednesday. Welcome back to another Spotlight episode. It's going to be great. Today solves and covers and works through one of the largest pain points for all business owners. All business owners at some point face this pain, and their life changes when they finally face it, when they finally address it. It's the thing that you do and you're like, why didn't I wait? Why did I wait so long? Why didn't I do this like 2 years ago, 5 years ago? And the conversation, this conversation is all about the relationship between an entrepreneur, visionary, and an integrator, between a director of operations, between a project manager, that I just all put in one category, but they're all different in their own unique way. And depending on, as an entrepreneur, business owner, where we're at, it'll depend on which one we need. This is the conversation we're going to be diving into. Which one do we need in our business? When should we get them? What can we expect to have to pay roughly for this? People will watching this video, your life will change. The relationships, let's talk about the pain just for 2 seconds, right? As a fellow business owner, we're constantly creating messes, more and more problems that we're solving, and eventually that weight starts to literally crush us mentally, emotionally, sometimes even physically with stress breakouts, and financially. And that also starts hurting relationships, right? Your marriage, your other like significant other relationships. If you're a parent, spending less time with your family because the business starts to take over. But the good news is, in running a business, it can be simple, it can be fun when you have the right people and the right infrastructure in place. And that is exactly what we're going to be diving into today together, which is why we needed to bring on a fellow sales ascender, Stephanie. Stephanie, how's it going?
Hey, great. Glad to be here.
Well, thank you for being here. She's broadcasting live all the way from Washington State, where apparently it's like always rainy and cloudy. Is it sunny today, or is it rainy?
No, it's cloudy.
It's cloudy, of course. Lucky guess, right? All right, so today we're going to be getting into the integrator, this role, and this happens to be an area of, it's your superpower. In fact, when we were just chatting a little bit earlier, there was a certification that you had sitting on the back. Why don't we start with that and what that means to you?
Okay, so I'm certified as a director of operations, and it means a lot for the CEO I work with. And so what would you like to know all the things that we do in general?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's a lot. Okay.
Let's start with the most important and kind of work our way down the list a little bit.
I would say the primary beauty of having a director of operations in your business is to be a strategic partner to the CEO. And so that means that you have somebody to kick those ideas around and to let you know, hey, that's great. Yes, maybe not now, maybe later. And to help execute that vision into implementation in a plan. And so that just really, and being that filter for the CEO so that they're not involved in all the things, like they don't have to attend all the meetings. And we give them a weekly report, which is truly valuable to have that, just quick report of everything that went on in the business that week. And it just frees up a lot of their headspace, and so that they can be in their creative zone, keeping to that vision, being that networker, and bringing in sales.
I know for us specifically in our software business, our meeting time, our implementation time, was cut almost in half. It was about a 45% reduction just in our time. We got back days of our time. Just the things that you just mentioned, by putting some of those things in place, we felt, oh my gosh, we actually have a shot. There's hope. It literally, like, we were getting crushed, but bringing some of that infrastructure in. And I know the entrepreneur operating system is really, really powerful. I know you're very familiar with that one. And go ahead.
Yeah. So there's a lot of operating systems out there. So anytime you join some kind of coaching program, they kind of teach their own operating system. And so I'm familiar with several of them. I know Alex Sharfin has his own. I've seen James P. Friel's. Chris Williams teaches one in his Elite Agency Mastermind. And so there's just those different kind of things. But there's one called the EOS, which has gotten really popular, entrepreneurial operating system. It's very detailed. They have like scorecard, weekly scorecard, monthly. They have like names for each little thing to make the business operate really smoothly. The only thing is that business, that operating system really does well for more 8-figure businesses, because it's more of a, having, these accountability charts for like each department has their own. So it's like for bigger organizations. And so when I implemented that in a 7-figure business, there was a few employees, but it was just too big for that company.
It sounds like, there's this dynamic of revenue. So everyone listening, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about like a business cadence, daily huddles, weekly meetings, monthly, quarterly, annual planning. Hey, guess what? 2021 is just around the corner. If you're feeling like you want to run a little bit more strategic and in more of a scaled fashion for next year, this is the conversation for you. And Stephanie's here with us, leading us through different types of ways to run the business. We'll be talking about all different levels of business, right? 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure, and beyond. Which one do we use? When do we use them, and how to implement them, and why they save us so much money and give us more infrastructure to scale. This stuff is life-changing for business owners. I don't know about you, Stephanie, but I have so much more to learn on this, so I'm personally really interested to have this conversation. But as I've learned, this, I'm like, oh, this is just literally like new ways of thinking and planning and preparing. It's really not too hard once you start to understand that. And I was like, I need this in my personal life, because more as the entrepreneurial, visionary personality type, having some more cadence and structure in my life actually helps me go faster. It frees me up mentally, emotionally. I feel like things are just organized, like there's less chaos and stuff to do. So I actually get to focus on the things that I want to do more often, which is just more fun. So getting into this, there's this element of revenue, and there's this element of amount of people on the team. Mm-hmm. So let's say it seems like EOS is driven, like as you have more and more people, EOS becomes more and more relevant because of how it helps more people communicate together. Is that true? Mm-hmm. A fair statement?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So maybe for those listening, another thing that was going through my mind is, okay, let's say, I'm a 5-figure or 6-figure business. Do I start with EOS because I'm eventually going to grow to that, or do I use a different one and then switch everything to EOS later?
Yeah, that's a great question. Don't start with EOS. It is. Okay. It's like buying a mansion if you just got married and you got your first job. It's just too much. It will be overwhelming. So. Okay. When you're talking like that 5-figure business owner going into 6 figures, at that level, you want to start with having people to do the implementation. That is the most important thing, is just to do the things. And so at that level, you're as the visionary, you still need to do the management at like 5 figures, because it would take from your bottom line. It would hurt the business. So having that admin VA role, a technical VA role, people to like actually do the customer service, build the funnels, all those things, set up the email automations and stuff. So, and then once you get into the 6 figures, you can explore options of finding somebody to help manage your business. So there's a new title floating out there that's been around for about 10 years called an online business manager, OBM. It's become quite popular in the last few years. And so Tina Forsyth developed that institute. And so basically at that level, that OBM, and they're often called project managers, but basically managing that team that you have. So you don't need an OBM or a project manager if you don't have a team to manage. And that's a really important detail, because I've gotten on a lot of discovery calls when people are solopreneurs. They don't need me at that level. So, because I wouldn't be the implementer as an OBM, because I got certified as an OBM as well. So I had experience seeing what that level is like.
Let's hang out there for a second. Let's pause there for a second. And I can see more people jumping on and joining. Hey, if you guys have questions, if you're getting stuck, post your questions. I can see them over here. It won't let me in StreamYard respond to them because we're going multiple places here, but I can definitely see them and highlight them, and we can ask Stephanie, ask about your team, ask where you're getting stuck, ask how you can scale, go faster. Stephanie will have the answers for you, so feel free to drop those in as you're listening. Let's continue the convo with you kind of identified a distinction there between OBM, online business manager, and you said a director of ops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. What's the big difference between those two?
The big difference is when you're an online business manager, you're managing, but when you become the director of operations, so if you're in a 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure business, you can have a director of operations, which is like the umbrella,
mm-hmm.
and you can have an operations manager to manage.
So walk us through that chart. So if you're the director of ops and it's the umbrella, who is the director of ops managing?
Okay, so the director of operations at that level would be managing all pieces of the business, especially the CEO, as the strategic partner, helping with manage the financials, making those data-driven decisions, optimizing, being a key word, optimizing the business to scale, hiring, firing, all those really at the strategic level decisions. So if there is a coaching program, a course, a SLO funnel, agency, if all those things are in a business, you are overseeing all of it. But let's say you have an agency as a piece of that business. They may need an operations manager to dial in the operations of the day-to-day of the people that fulfill on that agency.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And so you've done both of these certifications.
I have. I'm a certification lover. Like if there's one, I got certified in Fix This Next and several other things. So it's kind of nice.
Perfect. So, what would you say? Let's talk about timing. So, we're business owners. We're listening to this. We're like, okay, great. I understand what this is, what they do. Let's talk about the when. Mm-hmm. When specifically, when does the business need to hire an online business manager and a director of ops?
Okay. So when they are managing an admin VA, like when they're at the 6-figure level, and they are experiencing growth. So there's income coming in at a steady level. And they have like their admin VA, tech VA, they may have a copywriter, like retainer and graphic designer, those kind of people that help to fulfill those things that make the business awesome. And then they may need someone at that level to start managing them so that CEO, the founder, can say, okay, I'm going to focus now on sales and networking and just in general being that vision of the company. And so then you could bring in at that level an online business manager. Some people call them project managers, but basically it's just at management level. And so when that company has experienced the growth, they're managing the company, they're developing standard operating procedures and integrating and automations and all that cool stuff. Then at that level, when they want to scale, like I usually get called in when they're like, okay, I'm at 6 figures and I've been at 6 figures for a year or two, whatever. I am ready to scale this thing and break through that glass ceiling and go to 7 figures. That is my vision. My 1-year vision is to get 7 figures this year. That's when I would get called in to help scale what they have and optimizing that.
Perfect. Okay, so what I heard is building standard operating procedures, going from 6 figures to 7 figures. You want to scale. The online business managers building out the SOPs and the foundation. I mean, how many hours a week?
That's the thing, is a lot of people feel that they can't afford people like us. And there's the beauty of fractional work. So when I say fractional, I'm talking maybe 8 to 12 hours a week, 10 to 15 hours a week. And so if you stay at that management level or if that person is not, don't spend money on having that person like set up an email automation or check your email inbox. Like that would be a waste of your money. If you just keep them at that management level, you can, when you're at the 6-figure level, you could get away with 10 hours a week to have that person in your business.
Perfect. Okay. What's like usually the first thing that people end up asking you to do as an online business manager?
Hire
people.
Yeah, both. I've experienced it as an OBM and as a DOO. Is we need to hire.
Got it. Okay, so it's usually hiring. So you're managing all the like recruiting, essentially, hiring, onboarding.
HR.
Yep.
The whole thing, onboarding through offboarding, dealing with all the chaos in between, any conflict that arises, making sure the team's happy
Sure, the team's
and
happy. So
working smoothly.
culture, freeing up the calendar of
Culture
the.
is huge. I'm a huge proponent of culture because you've got to have the right culture. You've got to know, first of all, this is really important. You've got to know your core values before you hire, because that is essential to building the proper culture that you want for your business.
So talk to us about that, core values. What are some good examples?
Okay, so what I like to do is when I create a job description, first of all, when I meet with a business owner, the very first thing I do when I enter that business is a business intensive where we, most often they don't have a mission, vision, and values ready. So we create that first. Let's identify what those are, put them into
the first thing you do.
Yeah.
Anyone listening, the first thing she does is mission, vision, and values. If that's not set up in the business, that's a great takeaway for today. If you're listening, share with us some of your mission values that you guys already have for your culture. I'd love to hear what you guys have. Please comment below for that. So yeah, please continue.
Yeah. And so then we go, and then during that first week, we also go into the strategic objectives of the company. We're talking financials, operations, team growth, visibility, just all the things that make a business run. And then, so we do that strategic planning and plot them out. Where are the holes? Where are the strengths? And then when we identify holes, we turn them into projects. And then we plot them for each quarter. When are we going to work on this? When are we going to start this? Because it's overwhelming. I mean, you may have like 100 things you want to do for your business. And so it's like, okay, we can manage these 10 things. We're going to focus on these 10 things in that first quarter for 2021, for example. And so that's kind of like the very first thing I do for that first week when I do it as a standalone service, but definitely for sure when I join a business. And then, but the thing is, the values are so key because I add those to the job description. So when somebody is thinking of joining that business, they want to ask themselves, do I identify and share in these core values? And that helps to form the culture of that business. And that is so key.
Really, really valuable, really important. So as you're having this conversation, you're laying it out. I mean, is this all just in Google Docs, Google Sheets? Where does all this information live? How do you know you're talking about what needs to take place, and then you got to decide who's going to do it, and there's going to be descriptions, all this. Where does all this info live?
Okay, so I find that a lot of people who came from corporate love Excel and Google Sheets. You can do things there. Like you can operate a whole business in there if you want. But I was born in the online world space, like as far as what I do, like I am through and through an online person. And so that's why I call myself an online business strategist, because I like to help with the strategy, but definitely online. And so I've helped a brick and mortar tech company before, but I found that there's something about the online space I just absolutely love. So, but anyway, so regarding that is I love project management tools, and it takes some getting used to, as for somebody who's not familiar with them, to get used to, assigning things in there instead of just doing all the conversations over Slack, for example. And so anyway, I do that in a project management tool. I've used A lot of them. Trello I started out in, then I got into Asana. I use ClickUp a lot now. I like using Nifty PM. That's what I use personally.
Nifty PM.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like I
Like
like it.
niftypm.com.
Yeah, Nifty. Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's a pretty good
awesome.
one.
I'm writing that name
It's
down.
kind of like Asana,
niftypm.com.
but it
Okay.
can do more.
So I feel kind of a heated battle. I'd be curious, everyone watching, listening, hey, let us know your favorite project management system. What are you using to run your business? I'm just curious. Is it Trello, Asana? Is it Monday.com? Whatever it is, let us know what you're using. I'm curious to hear. You just brought up, is Nifty your go-to? Is that what you recommend to everyone?
I use it. No, I'm actually very adaptable. That's actually
Okay.
one of my qualities. And so I use whatever the business is using.
Okay. Okay. To you, it's like, I get this language. It's just a different display
Oh,
of clicking buttons.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's one thing about what I do is people who do what I do, like management and strategic partnership level, you've got to be able to get onto tech tools fast and be able to pivot
Mm.
your tools fast. So it's just part of the deal, especially in the entrepreneurship world. You have to be able to work fast.
Which one are you seeing the most of? What's the
For the
most
project
common?
management tools,
Yeah.
mm, I hear of Asana the most, but
Yeah.
people that I'm working with, a lot of them are moving to ClickUp.
Gotcha.
The thing is,
That's where we just moved.
okay, but here's the thing: is ClickUp it has so many different open doors that you can
Oh yeah.
easily get lost. It is so robust. So that's why Asana and Nifty is like really simple, and Trello, it's very simple. If you just want simple, let's get it done and need organization, I would recommend those. If you want to start doing some like crazy ninja things, ClickUp is the way to go, but it requires a learning curve.
Do you think it's possible to just keep things simple and ClickUp?
Oh yeah, I mean you can. I started out there in ClickUp when I started out, but
Yeah.
it's
They just raised another $100 million.
that's
and
amazing.
their Series B from just, I don't know. I think, again, the entrepreneur side, I'm like, oh wow, look at this. They raised like 30 in their Series A. They just like announced. Anyway, I digress. Point is yeah, I see what you're saying in terms of, simple, there's Asana, there's some other ones. And then a Nifty said, I think, was in the simple category. ClickUp can be that way, but there's more loopholes. Just curious on what you're seeing, trends you're seeing in companies for all of us that are listening. Hey, what should we be using in our company? So somewhere in that ballpark. Is anyone using Monday?
I know of one company using Monday, but
Man, they marketed so hard for so long, it felt like. Anyway, maybe they still are. Perfect. So it's getting into some of the tools, and obviously, it seems like you would recommend eventually learning that tool. Why that over spreadsheet?
so what I like is whenever there's a task that needs to be done, or you can build out the project plan, for example, which you can do in Sheets. But what's nice is you can tag the person. You can do like even now live chats in a lot of these platforms. And so whenever you have like build out a project plan, you want to have one person assigned to it, not multiple. One person needs to be responsible, and then assign a due date. So those are key. A lot of that doesn't happen in businesses.
Who's doing what by what time?
Yeah, yeah. And so the manager, the project manager, the manager definitely need to be responsible for managing that project management tool to make sure it's current, because it's useless if you're just assigning due dates and then it's like, oh, that due date was from 3 months ago. You know,
That's never happened before.
I know. I see it every day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You gotta have that one place that you go to, that you're looking at daily, and you're updating and communicating as a team in. So it becomes really, really powerful. I think that a really easy hook for everyone listening, man. You get this down, you get speed. You get this down, you get to go faster. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot go. I mean, it's like trying to run across the street instead of just having a bike. You can go way faster on a bike because you have the pedals and the gear, bigger wheels. You have a system that allows you to actually go faster. I don't know if that's the best analogy, but it's a analogy. And I really think I think we need to talk about some resistance. I think we need to talk about the pain and the challenge of really learning this new thing. I mean, counsel me, counsel everyone listening on, clearly we've kind of established why it's worth it, but how do we get through it? How do we actually get, because even us, like moving into ClickUp from spreadsheets, we're still kind of migrating. It's a painful process. And I'm like, I see it. I'm like, oh, this will be clean and go faster and be smooth. Da, da. But now I need to click the buttons. Now everyone on the team needs to learn how to click the button. It's just it's this thing. Counsel me, counsel everyone listening, how to kind of work through that.
Well, let's start talking about standard operating procedures then, because that would be a step. So what I like to do is have standard operating procedures housed in a Google Drive. And so that's where you have a SOP vault. And so then and then you link those documents to areas in your project management tool so that people have a standardized way of following the processes for the business. So even if you want to set up an area in your project management tool called operations and where you can link those documents. So one thing about that though is with, let's say you're starting to use ClickUp and you just are not on board, your operations person or your VA or executive assistant can record a video. You can do a Loom video. I use Barrycast. There's a ton of screen recorders out there, and just record that video and then have and then create that standard operating procedure. Basically, how do you do this? And then you can put that link to the video in there on how to use it, so that you're like, no, I'm not ready for this now. This is the holidays. Maybe January 1st, I'll look over and figure out how to do this. You could just pull up those little training tools that your team created for you and just kind of whiz through them.
Okay, so ask your team to record their screen on what they're doing, which essentially is the SOP shows us how to do it, so that when we go to that task, we can watch and kind of learn what's expected and then go execute on it.
Yeah, you want your team to be your filter, because you do not want to just go on the website and just try to learn all the things. That'll be just, our goal is to free up your mental space in all areas. So yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, got it. Perfect. Well, that's a great recommendation. I use Loom. Yeah, like you said, there's a bunch out there. That's a really great tip for today on specifically building SOPs and kind of working into using and leveraging systems. Let's speak to the 8-figure businesses that are watching. If they're banging on all cylinders or using EOS or maybe they're using a different one, what are some best practices that you'd recommend for them?
Well, at that level, I would recommend they have definitely a business coach to also, at every level, you always need that business coach. That's really helpful. But yeah, I think the EOS is really good at that level. I mean, you can go to the EOS website and even find an implementer that will help you implement the EOS system in your business. And because if you have a visionary and an integrator, the integrator isn't even supposed to implement EOS. They actually have a specific methodology that they use, and it's a specific role for the implementer. That's the only thing they do is set that up for the business, and that would be appropriate for an 8-figure business.
Got it. Perfect. Well, is there, I know we've covered multiple topics today on how to implement the difference between OBM, Online Business Manager, Director of Ops, when the best time is to bring those roles on board. Earlier in our conversation, before we jumped on, you mentioned the growth stage and the scales stage. I think that's another thing that's worth jumping into here.
Okay. So when a company is ready to grow, they've basically figured out, hey, I have a good thing going on. This is actually selling, making money. I've got a funnel that's generating a certain amount of figures. Then you want to have that manager to help manage the things like the delivery, all the areas, the sales, marketing, delivery, and operations and finance, the functions of the business. And so that is great for growth. But once you get past that and you're like, you know what, I've been kind of sitting at $200,000 for 6 months now. And you know what, I'm ready to break out of this. I want to make more. My vision is 7 figures in 3 years or 1 year. A lot of online business owners have aggressive financial goals. So it's more like 7 figures in 1 year or 8 figures in 1 year.
Well, I don't see the problem.
I know. As an operations person, we see every box inside the box inside the box. So we're like, okay, let's figure all of this out. So anyway, but generally that's when you would bring in a director of operations, when you're ready to scale, when you really need that person, that strategic partner to help you make more of those decisions so that you can, to scale, you need to be making a lot of those sales, a lot of those relationships, and you just should not be managing team members or being in every meeting. Got it.
So you start to remove yourself from that piece of it.
Yeah, definitely extricate yourself from the business as much as possible. All the things.
Got it. Awesome. Well, that's powerful. Anything else you feel it would be really helpful for other business owners that are wrestling with this conversation would be helpful?
Yeah. So when I talk to people and they want somebody like me to help them with their business, first of all, not every person that does what I do will be a great fit for your business because, like I said, the culture is very important, the core values and all those things. So, like I found that my niche seems to be the ClickFunnels community. I've been an adopter of Russell Brunson and all the things, and so my clients tend to be people who I was in the 2Com Club X coaching program with, and so just because I understand the culture, the language, I speak their speak. There are other people that they may do what I do, and they just come from a whole other background. Like they're really into. There's a lot of people that are really into helping, like just spiritual coaches, and just kind of want to go there. So anyway, that's really important to interview a lot of people to make sure it's the right cultural fit, and our skill sets may be different because of our different experiences that helped form what we do. So that's also important to identify what skill sets you're seeking in your strategic partner. For example, if you're looking for that director of operations. And then the other thing is, the person that you want may not be available. So you may want to be on a waiting list for them. Or, that's one thing that, like, I'm working with somebody now that waited a year to work with me. So it's one of those things where, it can happen, but there might be a waiting list. So,
well, speaking of waiting list, if someone is definitely needing this type of service, this type of support strategy in their business, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so you can send me a direct message on Facebook because I'm doing word of mouth hiring for roles like this, because I found that I can only take a certain amount of clients myself. And so when I get maxed out, I still want to help people find their person. So now I'm offering, it just came out of a natural need to help people find their director of operations or project manager or online business manager, people that are more at the management to strategic level that need help hiring that person in their business.
Got it. Okay, perfect. So kind of as we wrap up here, I always like to ask people, if you're going down this path, you're serving businesses from an integrator, director of operations, from an online business management, type capacity. What is it that business can be fun, can be great, meet some great people, go some new places, experience all these kind of new things. It was just fun, but it's also still a lot of work. And so what's the impact that you want to leave? What drives you to continue working and serving at the highest level?
So I'm really into supporting the CEO. Like it drives me. And that's the thing, is you want somebody who's driven by being that support instead of wanting it for themselves. Like being in the background, in the back end of the business, and not getting that recognition. And so it's just helping them, being that other, like, someone I work with calls me the other side of the brain, but just owning that other, like, all those moving pieces of the business, and just really finding that person to help you optimize your business. It's once you find your person, you're going to be like talking about them all the time. Like, my life is better because of this. It's an amazing feeling for me to see that in people. And yeah, it's good to explore, because some people wait too long for it, but some people look into it too soon. But it doesn't hurt to get on a discovery call and just chat. If you want to get on a discovery call and just literally chat about your business and see if you're ready for certain stages, I'm very open to that.
That's really powerful, because I know that I often talk about Entrepreneur Island. It's very lonely there. But even though being a business owner at times is very lonely, it doesn't mean that it has to be that way. And part of the nature of building sales centers in our circle is uniting business owners to where we all can come to a place together, network, and connect, and know that we're doing this journey, but we're not doing it alone. And the impact that we're focused on building today is actually going to be impacting people sometimes the same day, but I mean for days and weeks and months and years to come. And it's not always easy leading the charge, but we're entrepreneurs, we're business owners, we're leaders, we're driven that way. And just so you know, there are other people out there that are equally as driven to making you run faster, to go further, to impact more people. And those people are the integrators. They're the director of ops. They're like, Stephanie, you articulated that so well. They want to make you shine. And sometimes knowing that there's other people out there that are actually driven by that. And when that partnership forms, it's explosive, it's freeing, it brings a lot of different hope and energy and new ideas. So hopefully that's encouraging for you guys today. That's what we wanted to provide some content. Thank you for watching. We will be back with more spotlights, more amazing sales ascenders here in this group. You guys are awesome. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.